Hi, sorry about that. Hey, how's it going? I just learned, maybe not for the first time, I think it has happened before. If I turn up the volume before I turn the camera on, actually, turning up the volume turns on the camera. Hi. So, I'm going to read you some cards, and I'm going to talk. And something about this angle is all wrong, or else I'm shrinking or slouching, or I don't know. So was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I had changed my profile pic on Facebook from a picture to, it says no friend requests. And it got a shocked reaction from a close friend, and then one from another close friend. What are you talking about? So here's what I said to them. I actually have not been accepting friend requests for a while, unless it's somebody I am reasonably sure that I know, but still not very often. I have been advised not to by another close friend, which, duh, I know that. But on the other hand, they don't live where no one visits and no one calls. So once in a while, you want conversation, some form of like companionship. Not necessarily saying that it's always about like trying to get with anybody or like ever really, but you do like get, and when I say you, I mean you get to yearning for like interchange with another human being that's not like a calling to say that something about your health, and it's just their job, or it's just their job is the reason why they're calling that. I need to like interact with people, so there have been times in the past where I've accepted them, and this is like years prior. Like right now, my social life is like picked up and plummeted and picked up and plummeted, but online, by the way, still out here in the boonies. But there have been times where it's just like crickets everywhere, and I'm just like doing whatever. Basically, the main feedback I'm getting is from my cat. So, anyway, those are, I feel like, pretty valid reasons to not be accepting friend requests. And, some of them have been from like really accomplished people with like good backgrounds, and if I were looking for someone like as a dating situation, I would be impressed. I'm not saying that I would like take them up on any offers, but I'm not unimpressed by accomplishments. On the other hand, like, because of like prior stuff and even some current stuff that's like indirectly related to the same thing. Well, in one case it was because of a friend request, but like it just, here's the thing. People say they want to be friends with you, and I'm like, can't you just be friends with me out here in the open? We can talk. We're talking right now. And they're like, no, I want to, talk to you, basically in private. I want to get you alone, which gives me the creepies anyway, because every time that's happened in reality, which I don't let that happen anymore since I'm very young, because it just never works out in my favor. If someone's trying to get you alone with like zero foreplay, and I'm not talking sexual foreplay, Okay, I'm talking like, I'm a stranger, let me go get you a loan. Like, what? Hello? Why do people not see that there's something wrong with that? And that's a big reason why I don't like to accept friend requests. And I really, anyway, so I was answering my friend. There was when I got all sidetracked, but not really. But I was just like, well, here, you can talk to me here right now. In fact, I even said that to like a guy that's a general. Well, at least that's what was on his page. And he said, I sent you a friend request, and I guess it didn't go through. And I didn't want to do this, but it's happened so many times that I was finally like, how do I say this? Because once you say stuff, it's only there for like however long, and then it disappears, and then you have to tell people again. But I relented this time because I was just getting sick of it. And I was like, I got your friend request, but sometimes I don't know that I got them. But here's the thing. I can just look at them and go, I am not interested. But here we're talking, so let's talk. And he's beautiful, flowery, long speech to make an opening, I guess, like a tank through your rice paper wall. It was kind of like that. It was off-putting, like, thank you, but yow, that kind of burned. I'm sorry. I didn't say all of that. I just was like, maybe like I said, I just didn't want to do it. And if you're talking to them, and obviously if you're talking to them, like, I don't know who or what's on the other end of it necessarily. I do look at the pages and whatever, but so anyway, they'll come back with, well, I just want to be friends. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just be friends here, because what the hell do you have to say to me that needs to be in private? We don't know each other. And it's like, that's your opportunity, if you don't run off because I said that, to understand or be clear that you don't actually just want to be friends. You want something more or something else, and you don't want to say it in front of people, which is why I think the general ran off when I was like, we're conversating right now. You don't want to do that? Never seen or heard from him again. Not that I was particularly interested in that, but like, I get a lot of these emails that come to me, or not emails, whatever, requests, or I don't know, posts. I get platform stuff. I don't know. They're trying to talk to you. Oh, they can, like, they've popped up in various places, but I'm talking about Facebook specifically right now. And so that's what I said to my friend. I was like, why don't they understand that they have to, like, make friends like you do in real life on this side of the screen, and also normal people? I've been saying this for years. If we are strangers to each other, get all revved up. If we're strangers to each other, and you just want to get alone with me, that is creepy. Why don't you get that? And even if it's virtual alone, the stuff people can say to you, oh my God, in those circumstances when you allow it. I hope that series of facial expressions conveys my feelings about those times where I was like, everybody's awesome until they're not. And then they're blocked. But, I just... time goes on. Things change. But that was like why I said that. No friend requests. Because I actually... like, I made it my profile picture. It just says no friend requests. And it irritated me because it also says on my page, no friend requests, don't ask. And I have thought maybe I should put it down, like, nicer, but, like, why? But the bottom line is none of these people that want to get to know me so bad, that want to make all these ridiculous, I'm sorry, to me it's ridiculous. Maybe it's heartfelt, but I kind of feel like it's not. I don't know where it's coming from. And in any case, being what I just described, I don't really want to know. But I can do without that, you know. I really prefer, like, even if it's painful, which it often is, just be real, just be authentic with what you're feeling. So when I posted that, I was like, ooh, maybe that's kind of harsh, but you know what, that's how I have it to say, you know. It's like whose feelings am I trying to protect here? Mine. And so that's that. I mean, if I don't speak up for myself, who the heck is gonna, right? Or at least it'll ward off anybody with any kind of silly ass intentions, I guess. So that happened. And, you know, I'm glad my friend asked too, by the way, because, well, I mean, I've known her since we were in our teens. I think we were 16 and 17 when we met. So I've stayed with her family before. Like, they took me in when I was a bad teenager, and we go way back, as they say. So I don't know. I'm just like really valuing people that want to be my friend right now, because I've gotten too weird for people apparently. Which, I mean, how it really have I though gotten weirder? Probably for some people, but anyway, I don't mean anybody any harm. There's like solar winds and magnetic storms and solar flares happening, and vibes being sent in, like love vibes, to like mellow us all out a little bit while we're gnashing at each other. Well, the ones of us that are. Some of us are, you know, trying to avoid that kind of thing, or just not doing it. I mean, you know, I feel like since, whether we're like aware of it or not, we're all having like the awakening process. That just by definition kind of involves going through some stuff emotionally and things. If you're, I mean, there's degrees of it, but I'm just going to talk about people that are having stuff happen to them that they're either aware of it or they're not aware of it as something other than like an illness. It's just some weird thing. You know, like, there might be some people that would just not really attach what they're feeling to anything, I don't even know how to say it, like above just being something your body's doing that you have no control over. I feel like there's like a level of being unplugged from your senses and at that level. So I want to talk more about people that like kind of are aware of it, and I lost the thread of what I was gonna lead up to. Oh, now I remember. And there's like moons doing things, and everybody's personal planets doing stuff, and I just like have been collecting a lot of information over the past 24 hours, and it's just amazing. Like, something I was watching earlier, a physician was talking about how much information is, or it wasn't a physician actually, it was some other kind of science guy, that's enough, but he was saying that just your brain always has so much information uploading to it from your senses, and then you're like also trying to do other stuff. And I don't remember, well, I remember remember the context, but I'm not going to give it to you because I'll get lost. But it was just like an insight to the fact that we don't even think about a lot of the stuff we're processing, and we're like unaware of it, really, kind of. And then we try and do other stuff. And so then think of all this other atmospheric stuff and planetary stuff. I know people don't believe in astrology. Okay. I learned something interesting about that too. People did believe in it, and people do, they just don't advertise. Like Nancy Reagan, for all of you Reagan fans, was a huge astrology person. I think someone before that, like Nixon, maybe? Nixon's wife? I don't know, but governments, militaries pay attention to that kind of thing for sure. I'm sure you can look it up. I couldn't tell you where. I don't have anything to cite for you, but if you're like a smart computer person, I'm sure you can dig it up somewhere. It's probably not buried that deep, really. So I just want people to think about that, like what you're actually trying to navigate through all this stuff that you're, if at all, marginally aware of, And I will link this month's energy report from Kalina Malnar, but she touched on some interesting points, and I'm definitely feeling a lot of the things that she talks about, like vibrations and headaches and fatigue and all kinds of, like, I'm not seeing a lot of stuff, but I'm certainly hearing a lot more things. She has, as she says, all of the clairs, like clairvoyant and clairaudient, and so I'm clairaudient for sure. But anyway, she talks about keeping a high vibration, and so now I'm gonna start talking about the cards. And one of the cards I pulled was from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and it's the Firefly card, and it's the air element. Little icon there signifies that. And you see it's a little tiny thing blasting a huge flare of light in the darkness, and I just want you to put a pin in that for now. And so the stuff that I was just talking about like the feeling everything and the enhancement of all of that, I was watching this series for a couple of weeks. It was only 2 seasons, but I think it was like 32 episodes, and it was called Firefly Lane. So I pulled these cards last night, okay? And I had been watching the show, and the show was deeply on my mind. I'll link it. I have nothing to write on. I thought I did that already. Okay. Oh, maybe I started to get something and I never got it. So I'm going to link that trailer. And the thing about it is I was looking for something to watch. Here's my guilty pleasure. I love Virgin River. I think that's also on Netflix. It's like a show based in a fictional town in Northern California, and it's all like foresty mountain, and it's a lot like Fire Country that comes on CBS, except it has fires and firefighters, but it's not about that. But they have a lot of similar aspects, and I watch both, but for me, like, I'm a little embarrassed. So anyway, it's just like a not a sitcom, like I guess a drama. So it's not in season, not in season. It's not right now. It's not whatever playing right now. It's on like some kind of hiatus, I guess. And so I'm on there looking for something else. And like if you have Netflix, then you know that it'll say, if you watch this, then maybe you'll like this. So that's what I was looking at, and I found Firefly Lane, and I chose it because I like Katherine Heigl. And the reason why I hesitated is because I'm just hearing all of the people over the years that have complained about her. And wow, that's a dur. I'm just realizing a trend. There's some women in Hollywood that, against all other Hollywood cosmetic reasons, they do not like these women. Like, attractive in the classic sense that they have been looking for, that's like the ideal forever, like slim, blonde, pretty, whatever. There's a few of them that just like rub people the wrong way. I don't know why that's cracking me up, but Katherine Heigl is one of them. But I've always just liked her performances, no matter what I heard about her. And I can't even begin to understand the world of negotiating contracts in Hollywood when you want something better for yourself. What I do know is that you go through a lot of stuff to get anywhere in Hollywood. So I'm just going to say I don't know what these women have been through until they're like Rose Byrne and they're telling you. But I know that some of them go through some not great stuff, and there's some personalities just rub people the wrong way. So she's one of them. But I also know that outside of there, she's a great a lover of animals, so she does a lot of public things for animal causes. Like she had like a cat litter that she used to work for. I don't think they make the litter anymore, and I don't use, well, anyway, I don't think they make it anymore, and so now she does something with dogs. But I think she just likes animals or loves animals generally, so I think that's a good quality, you know. So she's in it, and then Sarah Chalk is the other name. Actually, there's a couple of other older women who I'll have to check the cast because there's a couple of other people. Well, actually, the father of the one that I was just about to talk about, Sarah Chalk, the Becky replacement for a time on Roseanne, plays the other female lead, because it's basically it's a female-leaning show anyway, but there's two female leads. But I was going to say the guy that plays Sarah Chalk's character's name is Kate. So the guy that plays Kate's father was the doctor in the first, I don't know, like 4 or 5 seasons of Stargate Atlantis, which I'm like unhappily having an interruption in because I need to re-up on my Amazon Prime subscription. But he played the doctor in that show for, well, I think it was 4 or 5 seasons, and I really enjoyed his character, and I never mind. But I liked him in both, and so it was a familiar face. It just made me happy, and basically I just really enjoyed it. Was, you know, it was fluffy, definitely, and very tropey, and I guess I would call it my version or the Netflix version of Hallmark, because there's definite sex and drugs and rock and roll, disco, grunge, well, not grunge, but post-punk 90s Seattle music, I don't know. All of which are kind of my lane in some way or another, not Like, I was never a big ABBA fan, and that song is like in there. But you know, there's like pot smoking, there's cocaine use, and you know, like unmarried sex all over the place, and there's a hippie mother that's just out of control and ODing, and it's got a lot. But you know, it's about these two women and their friendship, and they basically grow up together and become sisters and family, and you know, it was just like engaging and nice, and it made me lonesome for friends. Made me remember a lot of things, and like ups and downs and all of that. So I was watching that show when this came out, but when I pulled this card, but one of the themes on there, like I was saying, that they did fight and go back and forth, not that much at all really, but there were times that they did, and a lot of themes come up when I'm sure anyone watches something like that kind of gets them in the emotions. Well, there's like, one of them gets seriously ill, and there's a lot of scares with her health, so that is both both an effective plot lever mechanism, and it just works because we tend to relate to stuff. So in one scene, the brother has trouble talking about how her life and witnessing it, and you know, feeling fear and love for the sister whose health is like scary, and she finishes the thought for him, or actually frames it and says, I get it, your sister's mortality, I'm paraphrasing, your sister's mortality is basically making you look at your own. That's an experience I have actually had. But I've had sick friends. I just found out one recently that I didn't know was as sick as she was, just because we just weren't in contact, and it wasn't, I don't think, because of anything happened, just like everyone's lives kind of diverged. Like I said, I'm off in the boonies by myself. A lot of people don't still live in our hometowns, so you know, I mean, life happens. But you reminisce, and you know, you yearn for things. Like I was saying, you crave that like interaction, that companionship. And in life and in this show, like one of the things that Kalina's messages were talking about was trust, like trusting your own instinct, to discern like who and what's authentic, and that's something that the Arcturians, when they're channeled through, when they're channeled anyway, they talk about being able to discern, because of how something makes you feel, what's real, what you can trust. So obviously that's always the case, but like, think about it. AI, for one instance, is about to get a lot better than it is, and I mean, we didn't really need AI to come along and make things murky and confusing, and like make us think things that are not necessarily the truth, you know, or just have us, you know, send us spiraling into thinking, holy moly, what is like, but wrong, you know, like wrong information, like great sentiment, caring, wanting to help, wanting to do the right thing, but somehow the message misfires, and you end up sort of soldiering for like the wrong cause. And that can put you at odds with yourself, with everyone else, put you at a distance. And I'm sure we can all think of times that we have felt like, you just want to run away. And I feel like this is about, like, also running away from you, like yourself, because you maybe made some waves, and, like, displeased people by your actions, but can't always, like, let that stop you from doing what you feel is the right thing. Like, you really have to find your center, basically, and stay grounded if you can, because the one thing you can rely on is, like, your own inner senses. That's what you can. Who is least likely to turn on you than yourself? And if you do, you're your own harshest critic, but that's for your own good. You could probably lighten up on that, but it's there for a reason. So, ooh, feeling a little woozy. Yeah, those waves. Ooh. Oh my goodness, really? Getting the headache, nausea wave. Give me a second here. Helps if you breathe. I feel like it's heavy. I feel like the subject is super heavy. Something I say a lot, and it came up like a bunch of times today, so I guess I have to say something, but it was, well, the subject was how we all, like, create our own reality, and there was a question as to how in the world do we do that with each other if that's what's happening. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like she's all in her own world, but hi, we're also your eggs. We're here too. Hello. And it was a great question, but it gets into a confusing area. All I can say about it, I mean, like, this is just my own perception of it, but as far as us, like, each creating our own reality and literally living in our own world, I believe there's truth to that, but I don't know what the question was about, really, because it's pretty evident when worlds collide in a way, but everything we do is going to be attached to everybody else in some way. Either it'll be visible to us or knowable, or it won't, but it's unavoidable. Like, think of, like, you go to the doctor and you have some labs, and what happens? You leave your personal material, and other people that you don't ever see are handling it and doing stuff with it, and it's gone and doing stuff, and that's pretty dang personal, if you ask me. So I mean, I liken it to that kind of thing. And listen, I am a lefty, full on, I'll admit it, but please don't call me a liberal, because that implies things that I don't feel constitute me or my beliefs. But what I will say is, I want us to stop killing each other, stop hurting each other, stop acting like every resource is about to dry up if the rich people don't grab all of it and make sure they can only parse it out for a lot of money and whatever else kind of pain they can dispense to the little people. Like, I would really like that dynamic to find a different way to be. But that's me. Right? I want us to get along. I want us to be friendly. I want us to mind our own business and yet go out in the world and not make stains on each other. But I will leave my home and go out into the wider world with my home bubble, and 2 doors down is a giant F. Biden flag. Remember, don't call me a liberal, but we didn't do, those of us that didn't want him to be the nominee and president, we didn't do what we needed to do to make that not happen. We didn't put in the people that we wanted. We didn't put in enough people to make the things that we want to happen. And the lesson for us is the Republicans have been showing us how to do that for years. Obviously, 2 different sides of the coin. Things are going to get done a different way, but there you have it again. That's you and your world colliding and interacting with like somebody else's, and it's not just us singly. I mean, world implies it's you and other occupants, so I mean, we create our own worlds, but I think it's a collective effort, and okay, so it's a collective effort, but we have to act with our own agency within sort of like the agreed upon confines. Wow, that sounds so structural. But I don't think it's as rigid as that either. I mean, we have to interact with strangers all the time, and that's a different way of stepping into somebody else's life and world. So I don't know. I mean, I know like my perceptions have changed over time about a lot of this stuff. A lot of it looks different, feels different, sounds different, and everybody is different. Everybody's experience is going to be kind of different. That's fine. Like, that's what makes life interesting, I think. So, I think I'm done. Well, I shouldn't say that. Edit, scratch that. So I pulled from the Shaman's Dream Oracle a card. And it is the Will-O-the-Wisp card. And the subtitle is Treasures Hidden in the Shadows. And it's the number 62 card. So I'm going to link that 6 and 2 to make it an 8. I'm laughing because I just saw the Troy Bond short where he asks someone a question and instead of saying a total of 8, they go 6 and 2, and he goes, oh, 8, it's a 6 and 2 situation. So, hi, here's a couple of 8s. And it's, the first one is the Strength card, and that typically, like in the Rider-Waite type tarot, is a woman who has got like her hands in the mouth, open mouth of a lion, and looks like she's about to stick some part of herself else in there, and that I guess is supposed to imply that you have either an accord with the beast or a power over it or a strength over it. Although I don't know. Never mind. So God, give us strength to handle each other in the upcoming times. Because I guess we're just going to be experiencing a lot of this and having to do our best to not react to it. In the future, in the crystal ball. And then I got another 8 of cups. And so, I mean, I don't know what else you could think but walking away from something. And it's interesting that it's like a bowl on water with flames in it, because I believe that's like a spell you can do, like a sort of a banishment. So she's I guess leaving something behind. Just like light it up. But it doesn't necessarily have to be bitter and anger. It could just be outgrowing something, because to me it looks like a child there. Like the clothing, it just reminds me of a little girl in a dress, and she's just walking from the water is sort of, for some reason, reminding me whatever. It's like making me think of birth or rebirth, I guess I should say. And the sunrise indicating the new day, so new way of thinking, belief in themselves, being able to trust themselves to turn their back on the old stuff and walk away from it. And walk away from it, in strength and power of self trust, like you believe in yourself and your instincts, which is what it is what Kalina was saying. But I mean, there's no reason why I can't agree with it, and then the death card, life and rebirth, or death. Death and rebirth. Blah, blah. It says death, rebirth, and it's the number 13 card. This is a tarot deck. Where is the... Why do I always do it? I thought I put it over here somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's this one. Oh. The Lightseer's deck. So, death and rebirth. But in this new awakening age, I haven't seen Cryon in a long time. I better find that. He is saying that you don't necessarily have to die to go through and be reborn, to go through, like, getting back to yourself, like your the self who we forget at birth, who we really are. Although, like, hints get through as you grow up and you learn, which I guess is the whole point. So, Cryon, though I already said it, so Will-o'-the-wisp, treasures in the shadows. I don't, like, I got my hand on the death card, but not because I'm thinking of death as all terrible and the end of everything, and those... It's hard to think of death as scary with a forest face, because that's a growth in life. So, I don't know, 2 in 1, you can do both. It says it right here on the card. Okay. So, treasures in the shadows. Well, are the shadows to be feared? Are they what we think they are? Are they negative? Or do they mean something else completely when understood in totality. I feel like we get these, they're like strobes, the little fireflies, you know, like they flash for a period of time, a short period of time, but they're very bright and magical and like a spark, like of inspiration. And kind of like we do, they flare and then go dark, but not like badly. They're like in the shadows, they're recharging, and they're gonna come again to inspire us. And once we're refreshed, like that flash of light is like a metaphor for our own energy in dealing with times like this, because it takes a lot out of you to witness the world and all of the scary, negative, violent, and all of the stuff that people are wishing up, dreaming. Well, yeah, wishing up, dreaming up, that it sounds like they just want the worst things to happen. And it's like, I don't know that that's really, it's so hard to think of things in two ways. Like, you gotta like split your brain. Like, this is the mudra to like sort of join your hemispheres to help you. At least that's how I use it, to help me like be able to think about these things on two levels or more. Because it's like, no one is doing anything wrong in the grand scheme of things. Like there's even like a Jesus passage that talks about like I guess the times we're going through now, like Revelations and stuff, and he says that, I'm gonna paraphrase, but he says, don't mind the wars. You're gonna see wars and rumors of wars, but don't mind them. They have to happen. They have to happen because they involve multiple life paths. So there are more worlds aligning, colliding, blending, colluding, like doing it all. The worlds are getting it on. They're getting on with it. But you know what? I mean, it takes strength for all of us, because I mean, I don't have stuff that a lot of people have to worry about, you know, like their kids and their parents and their house, and like I think I'm so happy that my life is pared down to not all of that stuff anyway. You know, whatever whatever gets you through the night is all right. I think you get the gist. Thank you and good night.